Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
Real hot girl. Hit me some beat lines, you know Lil Juice made it. Body yaddy 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 yaddy. Body yaddy 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 yaddy. Body crazy curvy wavy feet, yeah. Lil waist body crazy curvy wavy feet. Lil waist body yaddy 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 yaddy. How body that?
Okay. Look at Andy bringing us in. You are checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. This is the show where we hit all the trending topics and headlines across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. I am your host, Jill Munroe. Happy Tuesday to you. As always, we have so very much to discuss. So I hope that you are comfortable, get a snack, a beverage, a libation. I know it's only Tuesday, but maybe, that's the vibe that you're on tonight. We are going to get into so very much tonight. So I hope that you are ready. We have a great show lined up for you. Let me tell you what's on deck, of course. We're going to get into Bronny James. He and his dad made a visit to the Mayo Clinic. We're going to give you some details about that and then have a discussion about what was said as far as his upcoming freshman year at UCLA? No, I can't believe I said the enemy. USC. They're not my enemy. I'm talking about USC's enemy, of course. Right. I'm neutral on that. I'm neutral. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about Raven Symone. She revealed some information about herself that involves plastic surgery that she had before the age of 18. So we're going to talk about that and, the challenges of body image. We're going to get into Billy Porter's revelation that because of the strike, because of the Writers Guild strike and the Screen Actors Guild strike, he's going to be forced to sell his home. We're going to discuss that. We're also going to talk about a new study that says the number of people over 50 that are living alone is climbing. We're going to discuss why and talk about the impact that has on the future as far as relations. And, as our nation gets older, what's going to happen later? What happens as far as housing? What happens as far as those connections? We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to discuss the Made in America Festival. It's been canceled. There's speculations as to why. And we're also going to get into the Tory Lanez sentencing that took place today from the Megan Thee Stallion trial. That's in hour 3. And we have a guest coming up this evening, Dr. Eleary S. Dixon. We're going to talk to him. We're going to get into his story, and we're going to get his opinion on some of the topics that we discussed because it's his area of expertise. But before we go into all of that, we're going to get into a couple of conversation starters. First, we have to say congratulations to Sierra and Russell Wilson. They announced that baby number 4 is on the way. Sierra is pregnant. They made the announcement on Instagram with a video that was shot by Daddy, as Russ put it, on his Instagram. And it's Sierra dancing in silhouette by a pool, and she reveals her baby bump. Super sweet. We're excited for them. I love that they are on like a 3-year cycle. Sierra had her first son with Future, and then 3 years later, she had her daughter with Russell after they were married in union. Then they have their son Win, and now 3 years later there's another baby coming. So super sweet, excited for them. And also, just in time for the end of summer, Lori Harvey has launched her own swimwear line. So I'm going to give you the pronunciation, how it looks to me, and then tell you what it means, and then you can work out if I got it correct or how it should be. It's Yevra. So what it is her last name backwards, like Oprah had Harpo. Harvey is Yevra. I don't know. We're going to take some, maybe some ideas or suggestions as to how that's pronounced. I'm not sure, but it is her last name backwards. She announced it Today, it exclusively launched with Revolve. Of course, her boyfriend, Damson Idris, showed love to her new line. She said that the launch of her new swimwear brand is such an exciting moment for her. She shared in a press statement. She said, creating this line, I knew I wanted to partner with Revolve because they are the go-to company for vacation essentials. And it was a no-brainer that they would be the partners to link up with. So she also went on to explain why she chose to drop swim essentials within her collection. It's 7 styles. She said they cater to all body types. They are staple pieces, as she put it, in chic colors that can be worn anywhere during any season, and they'll never go out of style. So, you don't have to worry about the re-up. She said she's all about inclusivity, and that is what is reflected in this collection. The styles are named after her favorite vacation spots in Europe. So, of course, you can go to Instagram and check that out. She also has her Lori Harvey skincare line, and this is not the first time she's dropped a swimwear line. She did a collaboration with Pretty Little Things some time ago. So, congratulations to Lori on that. We look forward to seeing that from her. Also, there's a new TV show dropping. Are you a super fan? Well, if you are, this show just might be for you. It's coming on CBS, and what it is what would you do to meet your favorite artist? What would you do for them? Super fans are going to be taken through their paces. It's a competition. They'll be matched up against other super fans of the same artist. Of course, I'm going to let you know who those artists are in a second. But basically, they're going to compete against each other. One of them will naturally be a performance of their favorite song of said artist. And fans will call in and vote, and they'll pick a winner. And the artist is curating a special experience, gift, or something of that nature to give to the winner of this experience. So some of the artists that are included in this are LL Cool J, Shania Twain, Pitbull. Who knew Pitbull had super fans? I mean, no shade, no tea, I'm just saying. A Pitbull super fan, like, you're going to go all out and multiple? But we'll see. So it's launching on CBS. If you're interested, go check that out. When we come forward, we'll get into all the headlines of the night. We'll also check in with Dr. Eleary Dixon and have a conversation about all of these topics and more. You are checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing us into fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Hey LA, are you feeling the heat? LA DWP has rebates up to $225 on new air conditioners to help you beat the heat and save money. Plus, you can sign up for level pay to get predictable monthly bills for easy budgeting. Stay cool. Visit ladwp.com/cool-LA. That's ladwp.com/cool-LA.
Ew. Gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried new Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors. It helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go, shortness, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit NoTimeToWait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
The rent is too damn high. KBLA joins you in calling for affordable housing. The LA Tenants Union is a diverse, tenant-led movement fighting for the human right to housing for all. The LA Tenants Union demands safe, affordable housing and union rent control. They organize against landlord harassment, mass evictions, and displacement, and mobilize for the repeal of the Ellis Act and Costa-Hawkins Act. The LA Tenants Union is on a mission to strengthen tenants' political power through education, advocacy, and direct action. To get help with your eviction or other landlord-tenant issues, take action for justice, or become a member, visit latenantsunion.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, you are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Now, before we get into the night's headlines and topics, I have to let you know that, of course, if you want to call in and you have a comment or opinion on any of the topics, you can hit up the power lines, 800-920-1580. Of course, hit up all of our socials, KBLA 1580. I'm at Stiletto Jill. And, clock in on YouTube. There is an active community there in the chat where they share their opinion all the time. And lastly, if you are on the go, download the app. Take us with you so you never miss an episode. And if you do, they're there for you so you can go back through them and catch your favorites. So that's a little message from me to you for the evening. Now, I told you we have a guest tonight, and I'm very excited to talk to him. We have Dr. Eleary S. Dixon. We are welcoming him to RSVP with Jill Munroe. He is now VIP stamped. Let me give you his background. He is an AADP's board-certified doctor of naturopathy. We've been reviewing how to say that correctly. Obviously, I'm on a roll with these pronunciations tonight. A certified natural health professional, a certified massage therapist, and he's currently part of the USA Track and Field medical staff as a massage therapist. So, I'm going to have some questions for you about that.
Sounds good.
Okay. And, as a former collegiate track athlete, he has firsthand experience with training, nutrition, body mechanics, and recovery after an injury. He attended the University of California at Santa Barbara. And when you went, knowing that you were an athlete, and I see here you were also a student athletic trainer, was it always your goal to get into this side of it, training, or did that come as you were in college and sort of working through that process?
I grew up doing sports, mainly track, and that just opened the door to all that came with athletics for me was track, because there were so many moving parts from coaching, and I coached track. But what really interested me was getting the athletes together health-wise, and so I thought I was going to go into physical therapy, and it just kind of sidelined because I was more of a track coach, and I love directing and helping athletes reach their highest potential. But the massage therapy came about much later, but being an athlete and student athletic trainer, I just thought it was the funnest thing to do.
Okay, so of course I have to ask you, what were your races? What did you run?
Yes, and because we live in Southern California, it's like one of the top track and field, meccas of the nation, aside from Texas and Florida. I ran the 100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters. I did the relays, but I think my strongest event was the 800 meters, but that is like death.
Right.
That feeling. The last 250, I can feel it now on my legs, the lactic acid. But I always had a dream when I was younger to run the 200 meters in the Olympics. And injuries, recovering, and again, living in Southern California, you kind of eliminate yourself because it's like a top hub for the best athletes. I remember growing up seeing Obi Moore run the 400. He's like 16, running a 44-second 400 meters. There's just no way I could compete with someone like him, Michael Granville. So I just remember all the greats. And being mesmerized by them and what they could do at such a young age.
So being involved currently with USA Track and Field, I guess, in a roundabout way, you reached your goal.
Yes.
Because you're contributing in that manner and getting to fulfill a dream like that. What is that experience like now, being around these young athletes? Because I think that there's, you look at the eras of track stars, and it's changing as far as, obviously health and nutrition, training techniques, but also with the advent of social media and everything. So for you, what has been some of your observations?
Currently looking at track and field, I wish it was bigger in the United States. It doesn't get its fanfare as it should. We have top athletes like Arian Knighton, who's 19 years old. He just got crowned United States champion 200 meters. He's I think he finished third in the World Championships last year at 18. He fell off the podium, got fourth in the Olympics in 2021 at 18 years old. Sydney McLaughlin, she just turned 23, 24 recently. She's a 3-time world record holder in less than 2 years. She's broken standards. And to answer your question, I feel like the technology in rehab today has really been a catalyst to see these records fall. I think the only record that probably will never fall maybe is FloJo's 100-meter 10.49. I think she ran in the, I think it's the 88 Olympics.
Yes,
but,
it was Southern California girl. So
you know, right?
Yeah. What's the name? I had the FloJo doll.
Did
what
you?
Are you talking about? The nails, the suit, the one-legged.
The one-legged? Okay.
Come on, FloJo was an icon. Didn't matter.
She, just stunning. The hair, everything. I remember when she wore the cap. I think it was in the Seoul Olympics, and she had the cap, and it was just, she's like, to your point, an icon. And I don't know what Bobby Kersey was training her and Gail Devers and Gwen Torrenson back in the 80s, but Bobby Kersey is still doing that today. I mean, he's training Sydney McLaughlin. He had her running the 100-meter hurdles when she was a 400-meter specialist because he wanted her to be able to alternate legs. Me seeing that as a track fan, as an enthusiast, I just think he's brilliant. I think if we're going to name the best coaches who ever lived, for him to coach who I think is the best athlete, Jackie Joyner Kersey, Gail Devers, 2-time 100-meter champion, Gwen Torrence. I can go further back.
You think about, to your point, what some of these advancements that we have now, the things that we know, especially even, obviously nutrition was important then, but even the things that we know now, how that would have extended some of
their
careers. And so it's amazing.
1,000% correct. Technology, I mean, back in the day for us, it was like you had a Gatorade and an ice pack. Those are your go-tos to recovery. And now it's like you have goo, you have specialized salts for electrolytes. You have the athletic staff that has all these gadgets and gizmos that are really transforming how young an athlete can reach a more of a adult, potential. But I still feel like the grit from the 80s and 90s can never be compared to. I mean, back when we had dirt tracks and like a 1/4-inch long spikes, but the technology of today, I just think has really elevated the average athlete into being something mega. Even the shoes, like everything. And so as me as being like a sports recovery therapist, I appreciate it because I get to see athletes recover and get back into their love of what they do. We look at Serena Williams and what she's accomplished, and I would definitely say she has been a proponent of someone that got to use modern day technology in terms of recovery. And I have a friend that's really close to her, and he knows her physical therapist, and it was like around the clock care, the level of dedication that these people use.
To get their bodies back.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. We talked about some of the younger stars in the come up. What do you think about, as much as you care to share, Sha'Carri Richardson? Because she is obviously a hot button. Yes. She is a pistol as far as, her attitude. She's been a spark plug. Debates around support, lack of support. She's clearly talented. Mm-hmm. We see that. She has a personality that could go far in this era. So what are your thoughts around sort of where she's at currently?
Sha'Carri Richardson, when she won the NCAA championship, I think it was in 2019 in the 100 meters, I wasn't aware of her. But I know this, anyone who goes to LSU for track, you have to be a top dog. So she doesn't own any international medals at this point. She's more famous for what she says on social media platforms. But what I like about her is that we need that contrast. We need her personality out in track, and the only one to prove that she can do it is herself. And I think it's so easy. We live in I think it's always been this way, but we can always criticize anyone for anything. And I think because she's a moving target, it's an easy thing to go after her. But talent-wise, if we're just talking about her pure talent, I mean, sky's the limit. I don't even know if Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price from Jamaica is running in the world champ. I don't know if she qualifies. She may have a pass because she's world champion, I believe, last year. But I think Sha'Carri is a conversation piece at all times. And to say, I mean, she's a showman, and I like it. I miss Carmelita Jeter.
Yes.
Back in the day.
Southern California girl.
Yes,
LA
I think
girl.
she went to Dominguez, right?
Yes, she did. Shout out. So did I.
Did you?
Where I graduated from.
Okay.
Shout out to the girl. Anyway.
Yeah, but like, we went from Sha'Carri and, you know, rest in peace, Tori Bowie. We have these amazing track stars, and they have not been like Sha'Carri, and that's why I love seeing her, because she can take off her one wig and be in another wig. She's dynamic in what she does, her lift, her hip-to-foot ratio, everything about her form is, you can see her progressing from that young girl that was being, maybe boastful to, a divine sprinter, and I think time will be on her side. She's not Sydney McLaughlin. She's not that pedigree of person, but even Sydney has her own things that she has to battle, you know, her faith and her, let's say, sobriety of being, you know, in a singular lane. With that comes hits, because they're waiting for her to slip.
Right.
And I think for Sha'Carri, she can slip and it doesn't hit as hard because they almost anticipate
that she will have some type of fall.
Yeah, but I think if Sydney slipped or Thing Mo, I think it would be a whole different piece of conversation.
Okay. Well, we're going to get into a little bit about LeBron James' son, Bronny James.
All right.
So they're taking strides to make sure that Bronny is back on track. Reportedly, according to TMZ, the two traveled to Minnesota over the weekend to visit the Mayo Clinic. You know, the Mayo Clinic is one of the top medical facilities in the country, so I'm sure they went there to maybe get further testing, get some information. We're not really sure. Reminder, Bronny on July 24th was rushed to the hospital after suffering a cardiac arrest at the Galen Center at USC. One of the more interesting aspects that accompanied this report of the visit is that reportedly, according to a source, no name, so might not be true, but that they say that there's no truth to any report suggesting that Bronny is considering delaying the start of his freshman year of college. So he will be attending. Now, they didn't specifically say that he would be playing, but I assume if they're mentioning him attending, the next step is that he will be playing as well. So obviously we don't know the specifics of what's going on with him health-wise, but from a mental aspect, as far as recovery, coming back from any type of injury, but something like this where obviously with any injury there's hesitancy, you're testing it out. What are some of the mental tips that you would suggest for someone like Bronny going through that?
Good question. First, credit to Bronny for going through that ordeal and having a strong, supportive family to help him through it. Working with athletes, it's so individual. I think he's from a pedigree of survivors and overcomers and money,
right?
Where he can afford what maybe the average person cannot. I think at 18 and going through what he went through, not being there to see it, I would have assumed it was scary for him. The mental aspect, I think time will tell, because if he's not returned to physical activity, if his coordination is not there as it once was, timing, we don't know if his equilibrium is right. if there's something going on with his heart and there's not enough charge, which is why they're at the Mayo Clinic, there's a lot of extensive testing. They're going to see if he is reacting as a person would without having this type of injury. And I believe that a tip would be for him is breathe. A lot of times we're so quick to rush back to what we love so much. And I think it's different for Bronny, and I think we as a community should be a little bit more sensitive because he's not doing this just as an athlete. He's doing this with an expectation that you're LeBron James' son. I've heard people who were saying this was like a hoax.
Oh.
It didn't happen. It excuses him from having to play. I don't believe it was a hoax. I believe that different things happen to different people, and the tips vary tremendously. And I just feel like he's in the best care because he's a James.
Right. Absolutely.
He like they own basketball. He's probably his father's the most famous person alive and has. I remember when Kobe Bryant with his Achilles it snapped. I think he went to Switzerland or Sweden to go and get that surgery done, and I don't
get the platelets.
Yeah, all those things, and there's so many advancements in technology that Bronny has access to every single thing. I think he's going to be fine. I just hope he's not rushing. I hope that the media attention that it brings doesn't cause him to prematurely go into something that is could be harmful, because we don't want re-injury. But I feel like from the mental aspect, I think he has the best team that money can buy to support him, and I would hope every athlete would have that out there. But for him in particular, I think he'll be good.
When you are rehabbing injuries or you're helping someone to go through that, right, and we know that the physical limits are what they are, right, and you stretch them. But how do you get maybe someone who is, because I think about with athletes, you train to be the best. You are used to excelling, right? And when something takes you down and sits you down, overcoming that aspect of it often has a huge effect in your physical development, right? Like how you balance that. So when we come forward, we're going to talk to you a little bit about what you recommend in those situations and sort of how you walk through the process with athletes and even yourself, because you talked about you dealing with injuries. So I want to know how you sort of developed your style with that, not only from what you learned, but what your experience has added to that process. So
that's good.
We will have all of that and more. You are listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
On my pictures, been getting these through the quarantine. Yeah, I'm very well. On my shit that you could tell. Any I beat from years ago is beefing by herself. If we took a trip on the real creep tip, rule number 1 is don't repeat that. Rule number 2, if they all came with you, they better know exactly what the fuck they came to do. Body yaddy 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 yaddy. Body yaddy 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 yaddy. Body crazy, curvy, wavy feet. Little waist, body crazy, curvy, wavy feet.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Police in Montgomery, Alabama say one person has turned themselves in and 2 others are expected to surrender in connection to a brawl at a river dock. Video of the fight that happened Saturday went viral on social media. It showed the black co-captain of a riverboat being attacked by a group of white men after police say he had asked them to move their boat from a reserve space. Many Los Angeles city services were impacted by a one-day strike today. As many as 11,000 city employees protested over what they call the city's refusal to bargain in good faith. According to a new study, an obesity drug called Wegovy could cut the risk of cardiovascular emergencies like heart attack and stroke by 20%. If the study holds up, it could be compelling enough to get insurance companies to provide coverage for the medication that costs $1,300 for a month's supply. And that is the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Hi, we're Comparing Insurance Agency. Never heard of us? We know. But to help it stick that our local agents are insurance experts, we're going to say local agent 3 times in the next 5 seconds. Local agent, local agent, local agent.
Find us at ComparionInsurance.com.
Gotta stay fresh, ma. I don't shop with a rep bar.
Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team for today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to K-Trip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like Watering Your Lawn During the Hottest Time of the Day and Leaky Faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on. K-Trip.
Have you heard about Lendustry? Lendustry is a national black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendustry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Whether financing is needed to increase working capital, acquire a business, purchase inventory and equipment, or refinance debt, Lendustry has a solution for you. Lending products range from traditional business term loans and non-revolving lines of credit to SBA 7A loans and commercial real estate financing. Lendustry's free application process to get started with an application right from the website.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Meet Joe A, Joe B, and Joe C. 3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect. Support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase. Make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, NA member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family was founded to help address domestic violence and sexual assault in the Asian and the Pacific Islander communities. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family's mission is to build healthy and safe communities by addressing the root causes and consequences of family violence and violence against women. They are committed to meeting the specific cultural and language needs of the Asian and Pacific Islander women and their families. CPAF's vision is of a community that embraces healthy relationships and works in partnership with other communities to eradicate all forms of violence. To access services, volunteer, or for more info, visit nurturingchange.org. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe everyone deserves to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
DJ, please pick up your phone. I'm on the request line.
Okay, we're two-stepping. We're still in hour one, VIP, vibing. You are checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. I am here with my guest for the evening, Dr. Eleary S. Dixon. We're having a conversation about mental toughness, the mental aspects of sports. He is a doctor, a massage therapist. He works with Team USA, track.
Yes.
And so we're having a conversation. Just first, we were discussing Bronny James and his recent incident, we'll call it, and the mental toughness that it will take to come back from that. So now we're going to shift gears a bit. I asked before we came forward about which is tougher, basically, when you're dealing with athletes in rehab, the mental aspect or the physical aspect? And do they impact each other?
It's a great question. When I was going through my studies to become a doctor of natural health, I always wanted to go to the healing part, the problem, the acute or chronic issue. And I had a great mentor, Dr. Ron Frank, that he always worked on the mental first. And it would frustrate me. Because if I had an injury, acute or chronic, let's fix that. And he would never do it. He wanted to deal with my mind. And it wasn't probably till a year working with him that a light bulb went on. I was like, if my mind ain't right,
the body isn't either.
At all. And it reveals maybe the stubbornness of the human being to want to succeed despite what they're facing. And being in a position now where I help people rehabilitate, I work with everyone across the spectrum, from the average, job worker to athletes, and I consider dancers in that category. I see a lot of dancers, and they come to me with a lot of injury. I used to see, when I was younger, the ballerinas, how they would make themselves throw up to be thin enough. How they wear those wooden shoes and their feet would be tore up.
Dancers' feet are a real thing. They are ugly.
It's a real thing.
And I am glad that I did not.
You're not a dancer?
No, I was a dancer,
you were.
But I did not, my feet didn't suffer like they could have.
Okay.
But to your point, I know, when I was dancing, I had one dance teacher, and I was dancing, but I also was, trying to run track. Not like you. I was just trying to do it and participate, but, yeah. That's aside.
I'm sure you were doing your thing.
I was doing okay. I was trying. That's the point. I was trying.
You were out there.
Spread, yes. Try all different aspects of sports. That was one thing I feel like is missing from this era. Kids being able to spread across all different sports and athletics to find, what they're good in, to learn different versions of teamwork. But that's aside. My point is, my dance teacher told me you need to pick. You're either a dancer or an athlete. And she didn't like the way that my body would build up with sport. So it was an interesting thing to go through for a young girl, because you're like.
And to your point, I've seen it where a lot of dancers were former athletes that have transitioned into dancing, and I've worked with several of those clients. That I had one, he was at rehearsal, and I think it was his ACL that was torn. He came out here from Florida to dance. This is how he paid his bills. And now the ambulance is coming, putting him on a stretcher, and I saw a post he had made, so I reached out to him. He's one of my clients, and I just brought him in. I wanted to do some lymphatic drainage to reduce swelling, to see if we can do that and see if he had any mobility. He already had the surgery. And what I loved about that interaction was he just broke down and started crying and was revealing every fear that he was facing, because if he doesn't dance, then what am I here for?
Take care of himself.
Those things. And it's not a man-woman thing, but I think there's an aspect of that, of gender roles. And if a female gets hurt, it's tragic. If a man gets hurt, it's tragic. But how they cope with it, we tend to favor one over the other. And oftentimes I've seen women get more catered to. It's like, oh, it's a girl, she gets hurt. But
because men are told to suck it up, and you're not supposed to show emotion, so why would we?
Why would? Right.
Shower that on you. We assume he's fine.
Yes, and I see that with the female athletes, or in the dance in particular. But in reality, they're the same. They have the same expectation.
Right.
And so when he came in and he just broke down and started crying, and he was scared he would never be the same. And I'm just there like, and in my profession, to your point, it's not just therapist, you're also counselor, life coach, and you're trying to motivate, especially with my line of business, natural health care. My whole thing is mind, body, soul connection. And healing starts from within, and I was looking at a wounded person basically feel like this may never ever be from this point on. Well, we worked with his mental in the sense of encouraging him, and I'm happy to say a year later he just got booked for a tour, and he's leaving at the middle of this month to go out. And I was working on his leg this past week. The mobility is coming back, and I asked him, do you feel like you're the same? And he told me like his mind is stronger. I needed that injury to get me here. That's maturity and growth, and I've seen too many athletes mimic that I know it has to be a divine hunger to want to overcome. So mental determines the physical, in my opinion.
Okay. So we have a story about Raven Symone, and I want to get your opinion on this.
Okay.
She recently revealed on her podcast, the best podcast ever with Raven and Miranda, Miranda's her wife, that she had several cosmetic procedures done as a minor before she turned 18. She revealed that she had 2 breast reductions and lipo. She said that she decided to have the surgeries while starring on That So Raven. She admitted that her father encouraged her to do it because she was being shamed at the time for her weight. She said there was paperwork involved, and her dad suggested strongly that she should get her breasts reduced. She said he was like, so you don't feel bad? Is there anything that you want? And she was like, yeah, if I get lipo, will people stop calling me fat? She admitted that getting the work done, she said that it was the best decision as it stands, even though she said when she gained weight, some of her breast tissue came back. But she said it prevented her from having breasts that reach her ankles. She said, I don't know if I regret it because they grew back, but she said that she's happy without having that, and she's recently gone from 210 pounds to 170, and said that she was motivated for making the change after receiving a reality check for her doctor. But when we come forward, I want to get your thoughts on plastic surgery is such a common tool that we see, well, I don't know if tool is the best word, but procedure that we see out there, and it's heavily marketed, not necessarily, but in a way, to our youth, the pursuit of perfection.
Yes.
And I want to know from you, do you find those same sort of thoughts and challenges within athletes as far as the pursuit of perfection with their bodies and cosmetic surgery? So we will talk more with Dr. Eleary S. Nixon when we return. This is Jill Munroe with RSVP KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey LA, are you feeling the heat? LA DWP has rebates up to $225 on new air conditioners to help you beat the heat and save money. Plus, you can sign up for level pay to get predictable monthly bills for easy budgeting. Stay cool. Visit ladwp.com/cool-LA. That's ladwp.com/cool-LA. Need help with the job hunt? It can be challenging, but don't worry. LA County has your back. With a variety of available support services, you'll get the help you need while finding a job. We're here to help you succeed. Let's get started. Find out if you qualify at recovery.lacounty.gov/programs. That's recovery.lacounty.gov/programs. LA County and
I'm Dominique DePrima. We can all fall into the trap of mindlessly spending sometimes. I know I do it. But one tip for staying on track is when you have an impromptu purchase that comes up, try making a habit of taking a quick look at your bank account balance before you buy it. It's not just about seeing how much you have in your checking account. Just looking at your account might put the urge to make that impulse purchase into perspective and help you make better choices that'll benefit you for the long term. Whatever your financial goals, U.S. Bank Access Commitment Initiatives can help support you in reaching them. Access your financial goals at usbank.com/access. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to K-Trip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like Sprinklers in the Rain and Leaky Faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on. K-Trip.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You are checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So we were discussing Raven Symone, and she revealed that she had plastic surgery before the age of 18. She had 2 breast reductions as well as lipo, and she said she doesn't regret it, which is not something that we usually hear now about having plastic surgery and so forth. Most of the stories that we get are people saying they regret it after the fact or they feel they were too young, but Raven is a case where she does not. But I was asking Dr. Nixon what you thought about, and if you've seen, as far as athletes, the perfection for the perfect body, but add in that layer of cosmetic surgery because it's so popular now and we see so much of it with social media and it's so much a part of it. Is it something that crosses into athletics? And what are your thoughts sort of around all of these procedures happening?
This is a great question. Because it's you're welcome. Thank you for asking. It's a great question because for athletes, you mainly see them having surgeries to reconstruct the nose. They're putting teeth implants back in. They're fixing the jaw that got broken, knee injuries, torn muscles. It's rarely cosmetic initially, but through reconstruction, it ends up becoming something where cosmetic things have to be done. Even, for example, athletes who get scars and they get surgery, doctors will use Botox to loosen the scars, where Botox can get the scar tissue, where most times Botox is to freeze the face or to cause paralysis on muscles to minimize, wrinkles.
And stop you sweating if you get it in your underarms.
It does do that. I know. Side note: liquid chlorophyll is a very good way of defeating body odor naturally.
Okay, the green stuff?
The green stuff, an alfalfa sprout. I get mine in mint. It literally, you might get green teeth as a side note, but it does help with body odor.
Body odor or green tea? What would you do? The choices and decisions. But anyway, back to this question.
Yes. In Raven Symone's case, her being a child star, her having all these unnatural scenarios, I'm with her on why she did it. Who doesn't know Raven Symone? We've known her since she was 4, or younger. And now she's in her 30s and she's married and life is, I would hope, better for her. But I don't see athletes doing the cosmetic surgery for any other purpose than to improve performance.
Okay.
There's been many female athletes that have to have breast reductions in tennis because it helped. People think, well, Serena didn't have it. Serena is an anomaly.
Right, in every way.
In every facet. I got to meet her almost 2 years ago, her and Venus and their mother, Oracene. Beautiful people, polite people. God made them on purpose, with a purpose. And to compare yourself to them, don't do it.
Can't happen.
It shouldn't. They have not done surgery outside of maybe anything that medically they had to have done. And those are statuesque, stacked women. And I don't see athletes going under the knife other than to help performance for females in particular.
Right.
But in terms of the normal, non-athletic woman that wants to do plastic surgery, breast implants, booty implants, BBLs, I always tell them before they go, because I have clients that come to me because they just had implants or they just had lipo, and so we do manual lymphatic drainage on them.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have only a BBL mentality and get that procedure done, because you will not be satisfied in the years to come. You have to have the mentality, because mental first, that I am healthy, that I am astute with my nutrition, my working out, because those women that are already like that, when they go and get lipo, they know how to maintain it. And we see a flux of women getting added booty tissue and breast, and they don't know how to maintain the body they had in the first place. And now they added this extra, these foreign objects into the body. And let's be very clear on what this does to the body. When the body receives a foreign object like silicone or anything in the butt, the body wants to discharge it. It wants to push it out. That's why so many people are complaining with the BBL post-surgery. We don't know what they did. We don't know who they saw. Doctors are able to inject a lot of different things. And I noticed that a lot of people are quick to inject themselves with anything they can't pronounce before they drink enough water. And I don't personally understand that from a natural health standpoint, but people will argue for the limitations at any venture they get to.
So what are some of your favorite supplements, natural ingredients that you think are just standard that everyone should have for optimal health?
Oh, I love this question. Sunshine.
Okay.
Number one, we need the natural vitamin D3. Fresh spring water. I know people love sea moss. Do your sea moss if it's beneficial for you. If sea moss is too expensive and you're not in the sea moss clique, Celtic sea salt, Himalayan sea salt have 75 minerals. Sea moss has 82. You're not going to feel a heck of a lot of difference with the 7 minerals lost.
Okay.
How should you take it? You should dab the sea salt on your tongue and then drink the water to chase it, because there's a different reaction when you dab it versus mixing it in the water.
So dab it on your tongue, then
chase it.
Okay.
Yeah, and when you do it that way, there's 3 different magnesiums that's released into the body when you dab it on your tongue, and we want that. Magnesium is known as the muscle relaxer.
Okay.
So for those women and men out there who are doing surgeries, consider inflammation being your quote-unquote biggest enemy, but it's not really an enemy. That's your body protecting you at all stands. When you get sick, it's your body saying, okay, time to detox. When you get the fever, it's eating up the viral bacteria matter in the body. It's not trying to harm you. But water, sunshine, supplementary-wise, I take vitamin D3, B12. It's like a little flu shot, if you will. They do it sublingually under the tongue. It can dissolve.
The weight doctor used to give B12 shots. I heard women talk about that. They would go to get those energy B12 shots.
And it's a smart move, especially because it enters the body so quickly and it can start taking effect quickly. Magnesium glycinate. Everyone buys magnesium from different places. All magnesium is not the same.
Okay.
The cheap magnesium is probably magnesium citrate, which is a rock. It's a rock. It is not a bioavailable substance that your body is needing, but they sell it. One of my advocacies in natural health is it's still a business, and they treat it as such. I don't have any products out yet, so I have to scour like any one of us to find the better products. But magnesium glycinate would be my magnesium. We all need that. We need 450 milligrams of that a day.
So I have more questions for you, but I actually have a question for you from the chat.
Okay.
Pretty Brown Mimi says, I have a question for the doctor. Do you work with patients with edema? Am I pronouncing that? Edema. Okay. Why can't I?
You did
anyway.
good. You did good.
Or I cannot pronounce this.
Spell it. Let me see.
Here, we're going to turn it towards you. There you go. Thank you. Thank you.
You said it perfectly.
Listen, I need glasses probably. In addition to lymphedema, and she said she heard you mention manual
lymphatic drainage.
Yes.
We never work with people when they're under a cold or a spell. If you have active cancer, it would be a contraindicator, meaning we couldn't perform this type of treatment. It doesn't mean that you can't get massage therapy, but lymphatic drainage is a very specific technique. So I do work with people who have lymphedema. I do not do the compression wrapping. I know that's a thing in some clinics. You would need to see a physical therapist that's qualified to do that. And another thing I want to stress is that everyone knows how to do everything in natural health because they're trying to get your dollar. And they may not know how to do exactly what they said they know how to do.
Well, when we come forward, we're going to have more with Dr. Nixon. We are going to get his final thoughts on the night. We are also going to find out where we can locate him. All of that and more. You are checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe. When we come forward, you'll have news and sports. You're checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe here live on KBLA Talk 1580.
Every day.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information